March 22nd, 2021 started as a regular cloudy day in Boulder, Colorado for Neven Stanisic, Kevin Mahoney, Tralona Bartkowiak, Ricky Olds, Denny Stong, Lynn Murray, Leiker, Jody Waters, Suzanne Fountain, and Officer Eric Talley. That was until they crossed paths with a raging GUN man who was dead set on causing nothing but devastation, loss, and heartache. Does an undiagnosed, untreated schizophrenia diagnosis correlate with getting away with mass destruction? Let's break everything down and find out what went down that day and if there were signs that were missed. Could have saved the lives of 10 innocent people who ranged in age from 20 to 65. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It's so greatly appreciated. It truly, truly is. Before I get started, let me give you my usual disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so because it really helps me out and I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so who is Ahmad Alissa? He was 21 years old at the time, and he was born in Raqqa, Syria on April 17, 1999. Raqqa is a northern city in Syria, and it actually served as the seat of power for ISIS in 2013. Ahmad has a history of being violent and short-tempered. His mother, father, himself, and his siblings immigrated to the United States from Syria in 2002 when Ahmad was just a kid, and he would go on to become an American citizen. Then in 2014, the family would move to Arvada, Colorado, where Ahmad would attend Arvada West High School. Ahmad was described as being an outgoing, happy child until he began attending Arvada High. He would constantly get bullied by his peers. High school wrestling teammates of Ahmad described him as having a temper, going on to say that he didn't take losing very well. He would throw his headgear, wouldn't talk to the coaches, and even went as far as to curse one of them out. Once in the parking lot, after a loss, Ahmad threatened to unalive people. In another wrestling loss, Ahmad started punching fellow teammate Angel. In 2017, he attacked a fellow classmate in the classroom. He jumped up during class, punched the classmate in the head, then continued punching him after he hit the ground. According to a police report, Ahmad says that he attacked the classmate because the classmate made fun of him and called him racial slurs just a few weeks prior. He became incredibly paranoid, constantly thinking that somebody was chasing him, following him, or looking for him. When friends and family would go outside to look to see who was following him, nobody would be there. His social media accounts were also concerning, displaying signs of paranoia and fear of being targeted because he was a Muslim. These mental gymnastics would turn Ahmad into a person that nobody has seen before. The first victim on March 22nd, 2021 was 23-year-old Neven Stanisic. Neven was a man of faith and exemplary family values. He was born in the United States, came from a family of refugees who fled the war in Yugoslavia and came to the United States in the 90s. All of his family's belongings were either left behind or destroyed in the process. Neven is described as a very mild-mannered, hard-working, and well-regarded young man. On that day, Neven had just finished fixing the espresso machine in the Starbucks, and he was sitting in the parking lot talking to his friend Johnny. Ahmad Alissa parks his car next to Neven's work truck, gets out of the car, walks over to the driver's side of Neven's car, and 5 times.
Somebody has to take that first step. And Adita Mayoku is taking one to help the family of Neven Stanisic by creating a GoFundMe page. Neven, only 23, was gunned down in the parking lot of King Soopers after repairing a coffee machine inside.
I just want to be able to give that support to them if I can.
Adita's gesture may seem simple, but it comes on complex history. Neven's parents are Serbian refugees from Bosnia, and Adita, an Albanian refugee.
And I came to America in 1999 with my family. I have two brothers and two sisters, and my parents. We all came here during the Kosovo-Serbian War. I just imagined myself and my family, and I thought, well, what if like that happened to me? You know, my family would not know. They're not very good with technology. They would not know how to set something up, but I know that they would need those funds.
After he kills Neven, he turns around and he continues heading towards the store. That's when he sees 61-year-old Kevin Mahoney. Kevin Mahoney heard the shots and he went to duck and hide. Kevin was born in Winnipeg, Canada, until his family moved to St. Louis, Missouri. He would marry a woman by the name of Ellen in 1987, and the couple would go on to have 2 children together. In 1995, the family decided to move to Boulder, Colorado. Kevin, who retired a couple years before this, would do all the grocery shopping. But seemingly most important to Kevin and Ellen at this time was the arrival of their first grandchild in August. The morning of March 22nd, 2021, Kevin and Ellen were cleaning the grill together and laughing before Kevin headed off to King's. While hiding, Kevin decides, for whatever reason, to try and make a run for it. Ahmad would spot him, chase him down, and him 4 times, one at incredibly close range.
Kevin Mahoney's daughter says he truly was the best example of a dad. He loved the outdoors and hiking and was a volunteer for Meals on Wheels in Boulder for the last 5 years, which showed who he was as a person, somebody who went into strangers' homes to become that source of comfort for someone in need. Last summer, he walked his daughter down the aisle, and this summer, his first grandchild will be born.
One thing that makes this harder is being pregnant, but at the same time, it also gives you strength because this is such devastating news and it's so hurtful, but my dad would just want me to be, the mom I will be and to carry on. And so we're going to do that for him.
That's when he spots 49-year-old Tralona. Tralona was incredibly well liked in the community. She owned a clothing and accessories shop in Boulder named Love with her sister Lisa. Tralona was described as a vibrant and positive person, an amazing human being who showed nothing but kindness and love.
Amazing store, Umba.
Nothing could feel more like Boulder.
It's such a delightful place.
Than this store, a quiet memorial now growing outside.
It's a store with a mission to create community.
The festival community is mourning the loss of one of its brightest Boulder stars, Tralona Bartkowiak, who founded the art and clothing store Umba just off the Pearl Street Mall. Her brother telling the New York Times she had just gotten engaged.
I also not only would see Lana at her store Umba, but at different festivals like Arise and Envision Festival. She would have the most amazing booths that were a place of comfort and sanctity and serenity.
March 22nd was a cloudy but mild day in Boulder, Colorado. Tralona, who was recently engaged, was driving through the King supermarket with her windows down and not a care in the world. She was just there to pick up a prescription. Ahmad spots her and while she's driving, Tralona drives up on the pedestrian ramp, gets out of the car, and begins to run. Ahmad, her again, and then again one more time at point blank range.
Was one of the kindest people you'd ever meet. She was jovial, good-hearted, good-natured, beloved by everyone.
Now we're getting ready to enter the store. The door he enters through is right near the pharmacy where one man is waiting online with his family for a vaccine, a 2020 one vaccine. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. 25-year-old Ricky Old was described as genuinely friendly with a laugh that could fill the room. Her favorite color was black. She loved cats, unicorns, and octopuses. She also loved to hike. Ricky, who was the head clerk at King Soopers, was an incredibly hard worker who loved her job. It is said that she gave her life to that company. When Ahmad entered the store that day, Ricky was by the pharmacy doing what she does and helping customers and employees with anything that they needed. Ricky was the first person to be unalived inside the store. Luckily, the man online and his family were able to run and hide.
We spoke with Ricky Old's aunt and uncle, and her family says she was a hero. She risked her life as an essential worker during this pandemic. Of course, what they didn't expect was this kind of danger.
Ricky graduated from Centaurus High School, attended Front Range Community College, and then worked her way up to management at just 25 years old. And tonight, her family, like so many, grieving.
I mean, look at those blue eyes. And she's giggly and bubbly and just you couldn't be sad around her.
Why? Why did you choose that King Soopers? Why did you shoot my niece?
Next, he spots 20-year-old Denny Stong. Denny worked at King's, but it was his day off. He just stopped in there to grab some lunch for himself. Denny was described as a kind soul with a funny sense of humor. He had recently bought a motorcycle with the money he saved from working at King's, and he was in the process of training to be a pilot. His mother also worked at King's and was sitting in her car having lunch while her son was being unalived inside the store. There's just no other way to say that. I have no words for that. Denny was the youngest of all the victims.
Just a few hours into his shift at the Starbucks inside King Soopers.
I kind of stepped outside, saw someone shoot, ran back inside, more shooting, I got inside.
Logan Smith was talking with a friend before the shooting.
I saw him run off, I ran in the other direction, and that was the last time I saw him.
20-year-old Denny Stong was killed. He worked at the King Soopers, and Logan said he was just stopping in for some groceries.
He's my best friend, he's a brother to me.
Logan wouldn't find out about his friend until the next morning, but he was worried when he couldn't reach him last night.
I immediately had a ball drop in my gut. I knew that something was not right.
He was also friends with another employee who was killed, 25-year-old Ricky Olds. Logan says they went on a break around the same time and they were getting back to work when the started.
I barricaded one of my coworkers behind multiple trash cans within the Starbucks kiosk, hid her, and then tried to find a place for myself.
In all the chaos, he was thinking about his friends, wondering if they were okay, wondering where Denny was.
62-year-old Lynn Murray was a retired photo director who lived in New York and worked for magazines that included Glamour, Marie Claire, and Cosmopolitan. In 2021, she was working for Instacart delivering groceries. She was at the front of the store checking out an order for a woman by the name of Pamela when Ahmad walked up to her and made her the sixth victim.
Lynn Murray was a retired photo editor working for popular magazines like Cosmopolitan, Glamour, and Marie Claire. She loved to travel and spent about a decade living in Florida before moving to Boulder.
He's the kind of friend you want to grow old with. For her to be gone out of my life, I know she's in my heart. I know she's in spirit.
Lynn was working for Instacart and was inside the King Soopers filling an order. Her family and friends remember her smile and selfless attitude.
According to court testimony, January 1st, 2021, Ahmad searches online for the best websites to purchase GUNs from. 2 days later, he purchases a Ruger AR 556 223 REM, a folding knife, and ammo from a website that totaled $985. January 20th, he searches where to buy ammo and what is the deadliest type of round. January 24th, he searches, are 30-round magazines legal in Colorado? January 26th, he searches, Ahmad purchases 10-round magazines from a rifle store. January 28th, 2021, Ahmad purchases hydrochloric acid from Amazon. February 18th through the 27th, Ahmad purchases a rifle bag, ear protection, a rifle sling, a tactical scope, a tactical vest, and a GUN holder from Amazon. February 22nd, he made a purchase at Eagle's Nest Armory. Then he made more purchases in March, right before everything happened at Westminster Arms. March 16th, he purchased a fire field optic scope. For context, the scope shows a red dot to help with aiming and makes it harder for you to miss your intended target. After the Ahmad was seen by several doctors. One doctor in particular, his psychiatrist, Dr. Gray, had gotten the chance to speak with the family. The family told Dr. Gray that Ahmad displayed normal behavior throughout middle school. It was once he entered high school, however, that he began to become less talkative, and he would frequently isolate himself. After graduation, though, things would go from bad to worse. He would not want to interact with anybody, including members of his own family. He began putting tape over the cameras of his laptop to prevent people from spying on him. He smashed the car's key fob because he feared that his family was being tracked. His father would also tell Dr. Gray that once, in the middle of the night, he found Ahmad in the bathroom. He was speaking as if somebody was in the bathroom with him, but when the father looked, there was nobody there. 51-year-old Terry Leiker worked at King's for many, many years. Terry had a passion for the University of Colorado's Golden Buffalo Marching Band. The band gathers every Friday night before home games to rally fan support. Terry was described as the most joyful person to be around. She was known as a big hugger with a big smile, sweet, caring, and the owner of a memorable laugh. Terry was at the register checking out a customer by the name of Patrick when she was unalived by Ahmad. Her customer Patrick drops to the ground and fakes his death for around an hour until the police come to rescue him. James Graham, who was at the checkout stand buying lunch, starts running and by the grace of God is able to run out of the store and hide in the snow. Sarah Moonshadow and her son Nicholas were in the next checkout lane when Terry Leiker was unalived.
And shots just started going off, and I heard the first one shocked me, and the second one I knew for sure it was a shot, and I said, Nicholas, get down, and Nicholas ducked, and we just started listening, and there was just repetitive shots, and then there was the brakes like paused, and I just said, Nicholas, run. And he said, no, don't move. I said, run right now. We have 3 seconds. And he started running, and then he shot towards us like we could feel it, and we just kept going. We just ran, and there was somebody laying in the road, and I tried to run towards him, and Nicholas pulled me away, and he said, we have to go, and we just ran and hid behind the buildings on the end over here. And my dog is stuck right in front there, and I think they surrounded it. Like, I think somebody might have been hiding. I don't know.
65-year-old Jody Waters has a loving family. Jody worked in and owned boutiques on Boulder's downtown mall for several years. Jody was described as a taskmaster. Why can't I not say this? Taskmaster, who led by example. She loves to go hiking with her 2 rescue dogs. Jody would be found hiding under a checkout stand and would end up becoming the 8th victim.
Friends of Jody Waters, they wish they had one more day to tell her how much they loved her.
Meet Jody Waters.
A gentle spirit.
With a charismatic personality.
Jody sparkled. When she walked into a room, she was a breath of fresh air.
Jody's dreams and aspirations were limitless.
Her dream for the future was to open another clothing boutique.
An opening day she'll never experience.
You know, I think what everybody says at these kind of events, you know, it hit home really hard.
Scott tuned in as the terror unfolded.
And then it just got worse and worse and worse. You don't think that it's going to happen to your neighborhood.
Or that their dear friend would be a victim.
59-year-old Suzanne Fountain was described as incredibly warm and absolutely lovely. She was a financial counselor in the health industry and was known for enrolling hundreds of clients into Medicare. But what Suzanne is most known for is performing at the local theater. Suzanne doesn't even live in Boulder. She happened to be getting her hair done in the King's Shopping Center and decided to stop there to do her grocery shopping when she would meet Ahmad and become his 9th victim.
Just lit up a room. She just did.
And because of that, Suzanne Fountain captivated audiences for 12 years in the Denver and Boulder communities.
She just had an immense talent. It would have been terrible if she hadn't shared it with the world.
Fountain most recently was working for a Boulder company that helped enroll people in Medicare. Pardee isn't sure why Suzanne was at King Soopers that fateful day, but she is sure what her friend was likely doing when the tragedy unfolded.
She would have been helping. She would have been helping other people.
And now she hopes people will remember not only her friend's name, but also who she truly was.
An emergency room doctor who was skiing with her husband that day stopped in King's for some snacks. She was in the next aisle over when she heard shots. She crawled onto one of the shelves and hid behind potato chip bags. Genius, because it worked. Texting her husband the whole time, who was also hiding in another part of the store. Dr. Gray would go on to say that Ahmad told him that he can hear voices that were very distinct, but was unable to discern specific words. He did, however, tell Dr. Gray that the voices were yelling and screaming at him. Although throughout the 5 times that Dr. Gray met with Ahmad, he says that he never noticed him being distracted by hallucinations. Guess they didn't visit that at that point in time. When asked if he purchased to do a mass, he responded yes. When he was asked if the voices are what told him to commit this, he responded no. When he was asked if the voices made him concerned for his safety, he responded no. Further into the visit, Ahmad confides in Dr. Gray that he planned to die that day, telling Gray that he planned on dying that day because he did not want to go to jail. Dr. Gray also testifies that although Ahmad suffered from a clear case of schizophrenia, there's no evidence to prove that he was unable to discern right from wrong. And in his questioning with the state by saying that in his professional opinion, Ahmad was legally sane. And I think it's really important to bring up the fact that multiple doctors and professionals worked with him, and every single one of them came to the conclusion that he was legally sane. Not to say that he didn't have or it gets twisted. Not to say that he didn't have a mental illness. They're saying that he does not fit the criteria needed to be legally insane in Colorado. Okay, so let's go over the timeline of that day. Ahmad left his home at 2:21 p.m. He arrives at King Soopers at 2:29 and exits his vehicle. At 2:30 p.m., he unalives Neven Stanisic, Kevin Mahoney, and Tralona before entering the store. After he enters the store, he changes his magazine. He unalives his 9th victim at 2:34 p.m. At 2:35, officers begin entering the store, surrounding the store, and giving Ahmad directions to surrender.
This is the Boulder Police Department. The entire building is surrounded. I need you to surrender now. This is the Boulder Police Department. The entire building is surrounded. I need you to surrender now.
Almost immediately after entering the store, Officer Talley is unalived.
People in Boulder are gathering to honor the life of the fallen officer in all this. His name is Eric Talley. When the shooting started, Officer Talley was the first to respond, rushing into the store to save lives. He was a father of 7. His mom says family was on his mind the last time the two of them spoke.
Child turns 18 on the 25th. Oh my God. We were talking about her presents. Just silly stuff, you know, when you don't know. That's the last conversation you're ever going to have with your son. Oh my God. It ended with, I love you, Mom. I'll call you later. I just got dispatched. It's like, I love you more. I love you. And that was it.
Well, Talley's mom says he decided to become a police officer after a friend of his was killed by a drunk driver. He joined the force at 40 years old. She says he was deeply loved by everyone who knew him.
Prior to the computer forensics were able to determine that Ahmad had studied other mass tragedies, including the Walmart El Paso, Texas one that unalived 23 people, and the Walmart shooter who was inspired by the Christ Church of New Zealand, who unalived 51 people. Through his studies, he learned that both men surrendered and both were convicted. After police had the store surrounded and began demanding him to surrender, Ahmad puts everything down, strips onto his underwear, and yells that he's ready to give up. Police, whose emotions, tensions, and fear are understandably high, super high probably, they're unable to hear that Ahmad has surrendered. So they keep screaming at him to surrender, and he screams back at them, I surrender, I give up. Further being instructed to surrender, he says, I'm in my underwear, what more do you want? When police finally cross paths with Ahmad, he is shot in the leg by police before being taken into custody. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, to be honest with you, but I'm guessing maybe they were just scared of how it was going to turn out. So that's probably why, and probably why it was just in the leg. They give him multiple commands after he surrenders, and it said that he complies with every single one of them. Ahmad would end up pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. But one of the reasons this trial took so long to begin in general was because doctors had spent so much time trying to determine if he was competent to stand trial or not. But spoiler, he was, as he should be. This attack was the definition of premeditated. And here's the thing too, you cannot premeditate and win legally insane. It doesn't work like that. From January 1st through March 22nd, he had saved 6,000 images of GUNs, ammo, and equipment, and 400 images of bomb-making materials. Ahmad was found guilty and sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences plus 1,334 years. If you guys are still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet, and you feel so inclined to, because it really helps me out, and I really, really appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe out there.